Good afternoon. It's Rick Boiardi of Rick Boiardi World Builder YouTube channel, and I welcome you to another video. Today's topic is titled, "It's Time for a Change, and we are just the people to do it." I just want you to take a look out here, this beautiful lake. I'm in Rutland, Massachusetts, and just finished teaching my Inferno Hot Pilates class, and I thought I would take a ride and see the beautiful New England countryside. And we just set the clocks ahead, daylight savings time, which I don't know why we do it. It's gonna get darker earlier. Don't like it, but we're still enjoying these beautiful New England fall days. So anyway, this topic, why do I bring it up? It's because I look around and I see what's going on in the world, and despite a lot of beauty and a lot of great things, there's so much that is on the precipice of destruction. And we could do nothing, and we could just kind of be like ostriches and put our heads in the sand and hope it all goes away, but it's not going to go away, and it's up to us to do something about it. No one is coming to rescue us. Is there some advanced civilization that's going to contact us and help us out, or be mentors or coaches? Well, maybe. I mean, they've been here all along, but for whatever reason, we are the masters of our fate, and it doesn't mean we're in control. Other people and other groups are in control, but it's still up to us to fix this thing. So I was thinking about it. A lot of people, and some of the people that responded to some of my Facebook posts this week, truly don't believe there's anything that I'm describing out there. They think that because there is evidence of wealth in certain pockets, that's all there is. And it's just those people had the wherewithal to create it, and everybody else is just running the race slower, or they're losers. And I don't think that's the case. I don't believe it at all. In fact, I think that the people, you drive around, or you just look around, and you see people in urban areas and or poor rural areas, people that are suffering, and they've got addictions and all kinds of problems. You see it everywhere, and I honestly think that the people that I was telling you about that would respond negatively to me would look at those people and say, it's their fault, they're losers. And I don't think so. I think what happens is that the way this world is run, people's hearts know very early on what kind of world we're in. And there's a lot of evil behind what is running the show. And good people, it's very difficult to face that at a young age. Maybe you're in elementary school, grammar school, and you start to opt out. You start to seek escape. You don't have the wherewithal to fight an unseen presence that manifests itself in daily life with cruelty and economic disadvantage. And you see the pressures your parents and family are under, and economic blight all around you. How the hell are you going to realize that it was designed that way, and you're going to have the presence to overcome it by yourself? So I think that the majority of people that are in trouble like that are actually the best of hearted people, and they need people like us to step up and lead the way, and help is not coming from the people at the top. It never has, never will. And I can hear people arguing already, what about these federal social programs, like say during the Great Depression. And I know that programs like that were created, and they used tax money to create, some safety nets. I mean, that's a good thing. I'm not saying good things aren't created in the world. There's a lot of intelligence, there's a lot of heart. People are creative, and a lot of people care. And one of my arguments of all of this is that, or people will argue and say to me, well, look around you, look at all these great things. How can you say that there's a big presence behind all of this that doesn't have our best interests at heart? Well, I can absolutely say it, and prove it. And all right, so technology, a lot of great things have come out of technology. I mean, I drove to this place in this really nice car, and you can go to movies, and there's beautiful clothes out there, and you can travel in planes to anywhere in the world in a day. I mean, it's fantastic. However, I think that those creations they came about in spite of our system, and that a monetary-based world economy has been like our society and our world driving down a highway with both feet pressed on the brakes, completely inefficient. And as a side note, I also believe that that's by design. However, okay, so if we changed our society to a resource-based economy, what would it be like? I just want people to start thinking about that. Instead of just throwing out these passive-aggressive comments on social media where you can be rude and mean and play verbal games without ever having to face the person you're talking to face to face. I'm losing my train of thought here, actually, but picture, if you will, a society where everybody is born in to a collective group of people where they all have the same, let's say, heart and desire for a cooperative, life-affirming society. So you're born into it, okay? And there are some things that will happen, that do happen in this society. One is that your schooling begins almost immediately. So people are there to teach you how to think, how to use your spirit and mind, how to know what your gifts are, and how to function in this world, where you're learning core segments of knowledge. For example, how to grow food, forestry. I mean, look behind me. The basic physical principles of the universe and how they manifest in this world in terms of the planetary bodies and seasons and the elemental forces of the world. So say, we're teaching people those things. We're teaching people basic sciences and math, communication skills, spiritual skills, emotional skills, skills that allow people to interact with each other, conflict resolution, things like that. We teach them all about the monetary-based system, about the truth behind banking and money and how it really works, so they understand where they are now, and that allows them to see where we can evolve to next. So, I mean, there's so much I can talk about in a resource-based economy that one video is not going to do it. So I'm just biting off chunks of it in each of these videos. And so say, for example, the United States, they become a resource-based economy. And we have amazing technology. I mean, think of what we see on a daily basis, and then you take all the classified and black ops stuff, and they are generations ahead of what we know. So the technology is unbelievable. So what you can do through computers and that technology is understand all of the resources that the world has, or the United States has, okay? Quantify everything. And then what you do is you do not have politicians elected to serve rich masters. Instead, what we have is in each category, so say food production, transportation, education, the building trades like architecture and development, and we design efficient cities that completely use natural resources their highest and best use. So we get rid of things like built-in obsolescence, that all products have built-in obsolescence, that they're designed to break down after the warranty period and designed to get you purchasing continually in a consumer-based, monetary-based society. But now we're going to use the principles of the universe as they are expressed on Earth. For example, housing, okay? If you ever get a chance, take a look at Mike Reynolds, Earthships. I've met the guy, I've been to one of his seminars in New York, and they design these homes that they dovetail with the Earth's natural principles. So example, they face south, the fronts of the houses, the glass wall, curtain walls are angled to whatever latitude you're at to take in the sun. They grow the crops in the front of the house. They recirculate all the liquids and waters through the house to go back into the soil and be part of nurturing the crops. They use earthen barriers around the other sides of the house, and they use a system of pipes through the house so that the internal temperatures are maintained at a constant year-round, so you don't even need utilities to run these houses, and they'll last forever. You know, so you could do things like that. Or you check out on the venusproject.com the way the cities are designed with transportation and the sectors that people live in, the sectors for entertainment, for education, for manufacturing. It completely takes into account the highest and best resource management to move things around and to let people live their lives, including the oceans that are almost untapped. So goods and services, okay? Remember, we have computers, so on the sides of goods, things are created. Oh, and let me go back to these different leaders of the different parts of society. So they're not there as a current politician is. What they're there is to generate options, to generate programs for our use. So say go back to the housing sector. So the design team comes up with these types of homes, either multifamily or single family, or ways that are completely efficient using our raw materials and using the natural resources of the earth. And that person designs these things. Now say we had 300 million people with access to computers. Now on election or vote day, what we do is in each area, these options come up and everybody votes on them, okay? And so say something doesn't get 70%, that means none of the options were good enough. So we don't do it, we stay with what we have and we retool and refine the plan and we come back for a further vote. Once you get 70% of the people that have approved it, that's what we do. And those teams go forward and they're constantly refining, relearning, and taking ancient knowledge, futuristic speculation. That's another thing, is it's not profit-based. So what's happening is people are designing things for the long terms, for generations ahead of them. All right, to make this planet, almost basically to terraform this planet back to what it could be. And then we could take these same sets of knowledge as we go out into space, and we can find raw materials out there, but also to colonize and terraform other planets. And we might not even have to. We might be able to find places that have gravity and oxygen and sunlight and water and things like that. And the other thing, side note about that, is we don't have to send people, we can send robots, because we can shut them down until they get there and then re-energize them, and then they just do their thing. They don't have the physical breakdown that humans will. Okay, back to products. So we say, for example, a car or something like that, or a bus. So people want something, they go online, they pick the one they want. It comes out of the factory. It's like a car library, and you use it. When you're done, it goes back. Everything is designed for interchangeable parts. There's a common scaling system used, so that as we incorporate technology into any products, could be books, could be sunglasses, clothes, you name it, we're not wasting those resources like plastic water bottles, okay? Or Apple computer, iPhones, where they purposely design things so that the next one, you can't use the cords from the previous one, you gotta buy new ones. Little capitalistic tricks like that go away. Okay, now everybody's gonna scream and say, well, what about, you know, how do you contribute, and what if it's not something you wanna do? Like, somebody has to take out the garbage. Okay, well, first of all, with robotics and automation, I can't think of the word. You know what I'm trying to say. Automation. So you design services to be run through that. So I mean, that's the way the world's going right now. I mean, look at it. You see the garbage trucks come around your house, and this big arm comes out, boom, grabs the container, lifts it up into the truck, puts it back, drives away. So the way I see it is this: the amount of time that people would need to spend on the unpleasant tasks will decrease per capita over time. So maybe what we do is people agree that every week you give 8 hours to doing just some duty that benefits the greater good. Everybody, from top to bottom. And how bad can it be? You listen to good music, safety's built in. So, you know, you can be talking to people. There's not this environment of people backstabbing you, and that everyone's competing with everybody, right and left, behind and in front of them. It would be quite the different environment to, say, be in the house cleaning team for a 3-month stint, 8 hours a week, when, you know, the whole world is progressing and you're just doing your part, and you got music playing, or you're talking to people, and it's a friendly environment. Okay, so, you know, what do people do? Like, who gets to be the aeronautical engineers? Who gets to be the civil engineers? Who gets to be a stay-at-home mom or something? You know, like, the way I see it is, as you're going through schooling when you're younger, the purpose of all of it is to give you the widest range of truth and knowledge of your world, and to find your given gift. And so as people go through these schools, and it's not competitive, it's not to get into the biggest schools so you can get the biggest job afterwards, it's to bring out your highest and best use for the entire future of you and humanity. So these people, they find out what their skill is. Maybe it's an arborist, maybe it's some sort of aerospace engineering, and that's what you end up doing. And school is a lifelong pursuit. And if somebody, for example, let's say they were a civil engineer and they just did that, and then they started to change, and then they wanted to be some sort of medical profession that's hands-on, like physical therapist, they immediately can go back to school and retrain for that. So there's nothing to do with age or having to have the money for it. Again, society is still moving forward because that person's going to become a better person as they pursue their new calling. And then maybe there's somebody else who steps into the role of that former person. But with computers and our unbelievable intelligence that we have, we can design this system to absolutely work. And you know, people will say it can't be done. You know, people they're inherently bad, and all these awful things you see out there, that's really us. And you can't get around that. That people are lazy shits and you can't trust them. I don't agree with that. What I think is that people act that way, but that's a result of the system we're in. It's not the other way around. It's not the system is this way because we're that way to begin with. I don't believe it. I think what I just described, if you raise people in that system for one generation and that's how they grew up, they wouldn't know anything else. That would be like breathing to them. That's the way we live. They would never say, you know what, let's throw this all away and go back to dog eat dog, and all resources are completely whoever has the connections to currency to control the use of those resources for the profit of a few shareholders that has to increase every 90 days. That's the way we should live. It's almost, you can't, like what I'm describing, it's unbelievable that so many people think that this is it. This is the way we're supposed to live. This is the best we can possibly be. And I think we're only at the beginning. I think this is actually the birth of something new, okay? We've got the technology, we've got the talents, we've got the heart, we've got the numbers, okay? It can be done. And so what happens, like say some other country, right? Like say, pick any, Pakistan, all right? They seem to be pretty poor from what I understand. Let's say we do that here and we're living well. Okay. All of a sudden, Pakistan, they don't have food. Let's say they don't have crops. Well, guess what? With our science and in this new system, we've developed crops that, you know, we understand the genetics of these crops, and we've become co-creators in a sense that we're making these huge, efficient, nutrient-filled crops, not because we want to make profit and we're going to, for example, use only non-GMO products and like corner the market and all the horrible things happening today, but instead we've got this ability to grow these crops and feed people. So we just give it to them. Here you go. Maybe they've got like this beautiful ocean front area and the temperatures are amazing and they've got the ability to build these incredible seaside cottages. And we say, all right, Pakistan, you got this area. Our people, this would be great for them to go there and just relax. And then you guys want the food, so we trade up. And, you know, everything that any country has that is their gift, they give it to the rest of the world, okay? Now, I'm not talking about being a hippie and groovy, this and that. And by the way, they were right back in the 60s. They just got crushed by the powers that be. And they got diverted by drugs that were designed by the controllers and just unleashed on society, nonetheless. But I think you see where I'm going with this resource-based economy. Again, check out the Venus Project and check out Roxanne Meadows, who's one of the two partners that's still alive running the thing. Check out Mike Reynolds, Earthships. He has a community in Taos, New Mexico. It's unbelievable. There's a lot of, I could go on for hours with this stuff. And if you go to the website, people will have these snarky comebacks, especially when you have the balls to post something like this on Facebook. And you go there and the answers are really well thought out as to how the common misconceptions and the common fears of today can be put aside as we walk forward into this new system of living together. I'd love to see it. I'd love it, the Star Trek generation traveling through the universe looking for other civilizations, and to be a leader of the forces of cooperation and unity going out into the world. I mean, right now, what if they came here and they saw what we have, and they do see what we have? It's got to be shocking. How do people live like that? So, listen, I'm one guy putting this out there, but there's billions of you out there. You've all got a gift. Start marching towards it, even if you have a day job, which could be awesome. Still, put some time into building this thing, and we can quickly get out of this shithole situation. Now look, I know it's beautiful. Look back there, it's great. But I don't want, go to other places. I just went to Cairo. It's a disaster over there, how people live in the city. I mean, go to Detroit. Go walk through Detroit some night with some money hanging out of your pockets and see how you do. So, and again, I'm not blaming the poor. They're desperate. It's a desperate world, but it doesn't have to be. All right, I've said enough. Peace, love to each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon.